Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX. A world where you play as Pokemon, beautiful storylines, and a deranged pelican who keeps headbutting my postbox every single morning. Rescue Team DX offers a revamped version of the original Mystery Dungeon game with later gen Pokemon and unique mechanics like the rare quality system. With over 400 Pokemon monsters to recruit, including all of the unknown, join me today in this video as I recruit every single Pokemon in Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team DX. The start of the game requires you to do a personality test, which determines which Pokemon suits you the best out of the starter choices available. After that's done, the game tells me I'm a hasty, and also pokes fun at my ADHD, saying I'm mashing A on the controller right now. I mean, they're not wrong. This test is bullshit. Anyway, the game tells us the Pokemon that suits us best is Eevee, and I don't think that's good enough for someone riddled with ADHD like me. So I decided to go with Cubone, since you have the option to reselect your starter if you're not happy with it. And I feel like Cubone better suits an ADHD child, and like Eevee, that little rat. I choose Machop to be my partner, and only now realise how freakishly long his arms are for how small he is. According to Wild Mike, named after the second best character in the best movie ever, and we set off on our adventure. After we set off, this is a character that already shows symptoms of schizophrenia, and we open our eyes to see our freakish friends staring down on us. We tell him that we're human, he tells us that we're a Pokemon, and after inspecting our body, we realise, what the fuck? How on earth did this happen?
Carry on watching to find out.
We tell Mike that our name is Otis, named after the best character in the best movie ever, and then suddenly, it's a cry for help, and a Butterfree comes scurrying out of the forest, begging us to save a child Caterpie. We immediately agree to help, and we go off to our first dungeon of the game, Tiny Woods. This dungeon was basically a guide for us on how to play the game, and after beating the 4 floors, we rescue Caterpie and take him back to his mother. We get a new fan, get a bunch of goodies, and we go off of our freaking nature so we can show us our new home. After a bit of waffling and some dressing up, he asked us if he would like to form a rescue team with him. We agreed to, and thus, the story of Team Brotherhood has now begun. If you want to be part of that story too, press that subscribe button. It's free, helps out my channel, and while you're at it, leave a like as well. Thank you guys. Now let's get back to the video. On the next day, we woke up. Still a Pokemon, by the way. We go outside to find Wild Mike sleeping on our doorstep. He doesn't tell us why he was sleeping on our doorstep, but our motherfucker definitely homeless. We open our mailbox to receive a rescue team badge to recruit other teammates, a toolbox full of items, and a newspaper. We then get a visit from a friendly fellow with a big beak who just headbutts my mailbox a lot. We open the mailbox again to receive a letter from Magnemite asking for help to rescue his friends who are also Magnemites. We accept the mission and set off to Thunderwave Cave on our very first mission of our rescue team. We find the Magnemite who sent the letter and tells us their friends are on the 6th floor. With mine and Wild Mike's typing and moves, this dungeon was a breeze, and we quickly rescued the Magnemites on the 6th floor. They gave us a bunch of stuff for rescuing them, and we all head home.
We didn't even say thank you, by the way.
Later that night, while we're sleeping away, Otis has a weird dream stating that he sees a figure. I think we figured out the Pokemon showing schizophrenia symptoms. We wake up the next day to check our mailbox, only to find no rescue missions in there. So we gotta go to the Pelipper post office to look for some. Before we head there, we stop by the Pokemon Square, and Wild Mike gives us a tour of the town. We have the Kecleon brothers, who you can buy and sell stuff to, Persian, who keeps our money, Gulpin, who can teach us moves and also links moves together, which I do not use a single time in this run, by the way. We also have Kangaskhan, who stores all our items for free, Makuhita, who runs the dojo, and also some other residents around the town, like Bellsprout and Snubble. After our guide, we carry on to the post office and accept all the missions on the bounty board. And this is a good time for me to explain another one of our goals, achieving Grandmaster rank. Certain missions will give you a difficulty ranging from F to 3 stars, with F being the easiest missions and 3 stars being the hardest. And to achieve Grandmaster rank, you have to obtain 99,999 rescue points. So, yeah. I've got a lot of grinding to do, and we gotta achieve a most ultra rank to get certain Pokemon to appear in dungeons. After a good day's work on Thunderwave Cave, we go to sleep. And on the next day, we wake up. We go outside for the ground to start shaking. We start panicking, thinking it's an earthquake, but nope. Turns out it's a little piglet turning around the place. And also it turns out he might have ADHD as well, because he couldn't stop turning it. So I guess Otis and Diglett are the real teammates, and Mike is just a bench warmer. Diglett goes away, the deranged bird comes back, and we go about the rest of the day as normal. Later that night, we had the same dream as we did the previous night, only now the whole dream is shaking. If that makes sense. How do you explain a dream shaking? I don't know. The next morning, a mysterious voice comes from nowhere, only for Dugtrio to pop out of the ground. And after they're done talking, Dugtrio explains his situation going on, and we learn Diglett got kidnapped by a Pokemon named Skarmory. I don't know how that's possible, but we move. Of course, we agree to help, and we set off to Mount Steel. With only 9 floors to travel through, we reach the summit with ease, where we face off against our first boss battle of the game, Skarmory, who's just fuming because he can't sleep because of the tremors Diglett is making. But then, while Mike tells us that Skarmory is too steamed to listen, so now we gotta fight this metal bird who's an alcoholic. I thought this was a kid's Game Freak. We defeat Skarmory with no issue, sending him back to rehab, and we rescue our friend Diglett. Well, we won't be, but these Magnemite will. And after returning home, we get rewarded for rescuing Diglett, and after the Magnemites are placed on our team, they unfortunately can't join us for the time being, as we don't have the rescue team needed to recruit them. I'll get to that in a second. Later that night, we get the same dream again, only this time we actually see a mysterious figure who doesn't say much and then dips. We wake up the next day and go to a place which I missed in our guide earlier on, Wigglytuff's Camp Corner. To recruit Pokemon, we need to get rescue camps, and to get them, you simply buy them from Wigglytuff. He gives you 3 camps for free to get started, and then the Magnemites from yesterday turn up and ask if they can also have Magnemite's camp for free. Wigglytuff agrees, and we can finally start adding Pokemon to our total with our first recruit, Magnemite. After that's done, we bump into a commotion between the Jumpluff and Shiftry's rescue team. Then, we get to meet the biggest team in the square, Alakazam, Charizard and Tyranitar. He gets Shiftry and his 2 goons shook, and he agrees without arguing. After a bit of glazing from the town square, Alakazam stops, looks at us and then dips. Blood's seen the feature, and he's seen how strong I'll get. The camera pounds out, only for a sus looking figure to be staring at our protagonists. We go straight to sleep that day, and on the next day, we get a little tutorial on rescue camps, gummies, and rare qualities. Gummies can only be eaten in rescue camps, and they provide a random stat buff with a chance of getting a rare quality. And if you eat a DX gummy, you're guaranteed a rare quality. A rare quality is a buff you can provide to a Pokemon, and then the whole team can also get it. After we do that, we complete missions over a couple of days, recruit an Elekid as well, and we get introduced to the antagonist, Team Meanie. After our hellos, we do a couple of missions in Mount Steel, and on the next day, the Caterpie we rescued at the start of the game appears outside our house, asking for help to rescue his friend Metapod. But then Team Meanie comes out of nowhere and basically steals the jobs from us. Me and Mike agree to help and make it through Sinister Woods with no issue. And after taking out Team Meanie and rescuing Metapod, we recruit Poochyena and Yanma, adding to a total of 4 out of 445. I've got a long way to go. The next morning, the Jumpluff who asked Shiftry's team for help is now asking us to rescue Shiftry as well as Jumpluff. After completing the Silent Chasm, we find Jumpluff and a KO'd Shiftry, and then suddenly a freaking Zapdos comes out of the sky and takes away Shiftry to Mount Thunder, which we have to take on next. We recruit Larvitar and Dustox to the team, and the next morning we go off to Mount Thunder for the next boss fight of the game, Zapdos, who we take down easy because of Cubone's ground type. After the battle, we rescue Shiftry, and Alakazam notices that we're human and not a Pokemon. We ask him if he knows what happens, but he tells us he doesn't know, but a Pokemon named Xatu might. Xatu's on top of the Great Canyon. We add Gligar to our total, and on the next day, we go through the Great Canyon, we tickle Xatu, and he does indeed tell us that we are human. While this was happening, Gengar was in the background, stirring up the plot. We add Breloom and Cacturne to our total, and we go to sleep. On the next day, we learn about the Ninetales legend from the Pokemon in the square, and they say the best one to tell us the story is Whiscash, who I also missed in my guide earlier in this video. He tells us that a long time ago, Ninetales set a curse on a human, but the human got protected by his partner Pokemon Gardevoir and got lost in time. So Ninetales asks a human if he would like to save his partner, but he's already dipped, and Ninetales has decided that he'll be reborn as a Pokemon. While Mike doesn't feel like doing missions today, so we take the day off. I guess he's now pretty chill Mike. Later that night, we get a dream, only now we figure out that the mysterious Pokemon invading our dreams is none other than Gardevoir herself, who tells us that she's our... That's all she gave us. We wake up the next day for commotion to be going on in the square, only to find out that Gengar has told everyone that we're human, and we are the reason that the world is going to shit. So now the whole town is against us, and we get threatened by Alakazam's team, saying if we're not out by tomorrow morning, he's putting us 6 feet under, but at least he's telling us to pursue the truth. And the next morning, Caterpie, Metapod, Jumpluff, Diglett, and even our Heather friend wishes us luck as we start the fugitive arc in our story. We pass through natural disasters and also the first dungeon of this arc, a Lapis Cave, to then go to Mount Blaze, where we meet the second legendary bird, Moltres. And I actually struggled with this fight, failing about 5 times, but once we finally beat him, we carry on through Mount Mount Blaze and arrive at the Frozen Forest where Absol is staring us down. After beating Frozen Forest, we fight the Vinyl Bird, Articuno, who we beat on our first try. He is persuaded on that we're trying to stop the natural disaster problem and tried to attack us one last time. But the Absol we've seen earlier on came in to protect us and basically told Articuno we're telling the truth. After that's done, we recruit Absol to the team and head out to Mount Freeze, a hefty 20-floor dungeon where we complete with no issues. And on top of the summit, we find nothing, only for Alakazam's team to come and start a fight scene between us. We get stopped by a voice and a little whirlwind in the middle, only for the voice to be Ninetales. He tells us that the curse really did happen, and we get told the news that Otis is not the human from the legend, and the source behind the disaster lies elsewhere in the region. An emotional scene starts to play out as Wild Mike is relieved that we are not the human from the legend. The ground starts shaking again, and we now learn that Groudon could be a threat too. So that's fun. Alakazam's team offered to take on Groudon as an apology for what's happened to us, and we head home, ending the fugitive arc. We return home to see that Gengar is still talking smack about us, so we decide to pull up to the square and basically tell everyone that we've seen Ninetales as Zal, and Gengar is just full of shit. Even Pelipper started calling out Gengar for being a liar. The Pokemon in the square chase off Gengar, and we go to sleep in the comfort of our own bed. The next few days, we go about our usual business, adding Paris and Statler to our total. We start having a dream with Gardevoir, and she tells us that we're here to play a certain role. The dream starts shaking, so she couldn't tell us more. We wake up next day and get introduced to a new set of characters, Wynot and Wobbuffet, who basically introduced us to Uproar Forest, a very short dungeon which we have to defeat a group of Mankeys on the final floor. When that's done, we go home and later learn that a Mankey gets seriously aroused and angered by the chestnuts. So in exchange of getting them chestnuts, the Mankey will offer to redesign our home. We have to go through Uproar Forest a couple of times for chestnuts, but once we've done that, our base is not complete. I recruited Swinub, Sudowoodo, Sunflora, Ladybug, Shroomish, Slackoff, Cypher, Furret, Snorunt, Rhyhorn, Seedot, Pupitar, Swablu, Slacking, Nuzleaf, Apom, and Rosalia during it, adding 17 Pokemon to our total. Before our next story event, we recruit another 10 Pokemon, those being Magby, Aron, Torkoal, Gloom, Cacnea, Zubat, Nidorina, Tangela, Golbat, and Orange. We wake up one morning for the ground to start shaking. We go outside and Lombre has us to go to the town square for Shiftry to tell us that Alakazam and his team haven't come back from fighting Groudon. Blastoise, Octillery and Golem volunteer as tributes to go on the rescue mission while we hang on the sidelines. We recruit Nosepass, Hitmonlee, Mightyena, Mawile and Numa while we wait. We wake up the next day to find the rescue mission has failed. Gengar comes and tells everyone in the town that they're all too shook to even go in the dungeon, let alone fight Groudon. Of course we show Gengar what's good and go on the rescue mission ourselves, and now everyone else starts hopping on the bandwagon and go to the dungeon. We spend the rest of the day getting ready for our biggest dungeon so far. We sleep the night away and we obviously get another dream with Gardevoir talking about our mission tomorrow. She also tells us that our role is coming to an end and just leaves it like that.
Wait, the cliffhanger thinks you stupid bitch.
We head to Magma Cavern the next day on our rescue mission. We make it through on our first try like the beasts we are and find Charizard and Tyranitar KO'd, but Alakazam's still kicking. Spikes start appearing out of the ground and go towards Alakazam, sending him to the stars. The spikes then come towards us and stop suddenly for Groudon to come out of the ground and start attacking us. This was our hardest fight yet because the arena we fought in kept moving us around and burning us, but like the beast we are, we beat Groudon on our first try and complete the rescue mission. During the mission, we recruit Jumpluff, Macargo, Sandslash and Grimer. We return to the square with everyone cheering for us. We then have Xatu using his telepathy tell us that a meteorite is falling towards us, and to stop it we need to find Rayquaza. And to get there, we simply have Alakazam and Xatu use their teleport move together, and whoever's brave enough for the mission.
Can you guess who goes up there?
We spend the rest of the day getting ready, and while we're sleeping, we finally don't have a dream, but instead have a nightmare caused by Gengar. He's stopped by a light floating through the window in what turns out to be Gardevoir, who finally tells us that our role as a Pokemon in his world was to save the world of Pokemon by stopping the meteorite in the sky, but proceeds to tell us that we will return to the human world once our job is complete with no choice in the matter. Hiding our depression, we recruit Doduo, Skiploom, Murkrow, Ariados, Tauros, Teddiursa, Slugma, Metang, and also Articuno and Moltres, but not Zapdos for some reason. We hit the Sky Tower, which is the final dungeon of the main story, where we tackle through the 34 floors and face the giant green snake. We beat him on our first try, and after the fight, he fires a Hyper Beam toward the meteorite and thankfully blows it up, saving the world. After that, we get KO'd by the aftershock, and when we wake up, the Pokemon from the town square have come to thank us, and we all get the happy ending we've been expecting. You see, it's a happy ending, until it's not. Gardevoir appears and says to Otis that his role as a Pokemon is finished, and he must soon return to the human world. It's time to say goodbye to our beloved teammate, Wild Mike, and everyone else in the square. A light starts glowing around Otis, and he finally speaks, saying, "Wild Mike and everyone, I'm sorry, but I have to leave. Everyone, Thank you for this time together. Mike and everyone else gets more and more obsessed as the light takes us away. Mike finally breaks down and the screen cuts to black. As Otis is being carried away, a voice speaks out to him, saying that our friends miss us, and if he wishes strongly, they can maybe meet again, and the credits start rolling, giving us a beautiful ending to a beautiful game. Now, there's still a long way to go in this video, so I'll give one big personal review at the end of the video. And if you're enjoying it, please consider subscribing. It helps out my channel, and also leave a like. Thank you, let's get back to it. After the credits are done, we start our wish to be with everyone again. And who would have guessed it? The light that took us away brings us back to the Pokemon world, and that's the happy ending you've been expecting probably, I don't know. Yeah, we complete the main story after 14 hours of game time, which I'm not sure is good or not, but let me know down in the comments. And after going back into the game, we wake up one morning for Snubbull to evolve into Grand Ball, meaning we can evolve our Pokemon now. Just letting you know now, these little guys stay little forever. Now, the post game for Mystery Dungeon DX is all over the shop. Multiple events happening with no specific order you can complete them in. You can just simply take on everything all at once. We first take on the Howling Forest to rescue Smeargle, but before we do, we add a bunch of mons. Foes being Hitmonchan, Zangoose, Vigoroth, Surskit, Shelgon, Seviper, Pidgey, Graveler, Chingling, Mr. Mime, Nidoran, Electrike, Manectric, Chimecho, Pineco, Aerodactyl, Spearow, Marill, Nidorino, Illumise, Bagon, Growlithe, Marshtomp, Pichu, Shellder, Magikarp, Butterfree, Hoppip, Golem, Flaffy, Nidoking, Beldum, Probopass, Azurill, Plusle, Cubone, Baltoy, Dugtrio, Goldeen, Totodile, Quagsire, Trapinch, Lotad, the final bit Zapdos, and finally Groudon, adding 45 Pokemon to our total. Two things I want to add. Because we're in the post game now, we can buy invitations from the Kecleon shop in the square, and using those invitations, we can open up mystery houses, which have a low chance of appearing in dungeons with a unique Pokemon inside of it. And the other thing is, the reason I'm not updating you guys on my rescue rank progress is because the earlier levels rank up really quick. I'll be mentioning it every second, so I'll bring it up again once we've hit the halfway mark. We take on Howling Forest and rescue Smeargle at the end of it. He tells us he can redesign our flag, and I go with a design that looks kind of funky if we're going to be tripping balls. I recruited Hoothoot, Mankey, Houndour, Loudred, and also the Smeargle who we rescued in the mission. For our next post-game event, we're going to Stormy Sea, but before we do, we recruit Abra, Meditite, Lunatone, Hypno, Curlier, Grumpig, Kadabra, Fearow, Dratini, Salamence, Dragonair, and Corsola. And after besting the 40 floors in the Stormy Sea, we reach the end and face off against Kyogre, who also goes into his primal state, by the way. We beat him on our first try, mostly thanks to Zapdos, and recruit him to the team, along with Vulpix, Makuhita, Electabuzz, Pelipper, and Celio. Over the next couple of days, we recruit another 12 mons, those being Quillfish, Tentacool, Kabuto, Remoraid, Tropius, Tentacruel, Arcanine, Scizor, Execute, Snubbull, Pinsir, and Magmar, and also Vileplume. And for our next story event, we learned that Kecleon had his TMs robbed and the thief headed to the northern range. When we clear the dungeon, we find out that the thief is none other than Latios, and after defeating him, we return to the town square and he tells us that he only stole the TMs to help rescue his little sister Latias. After going through Pitfall Valley, we find Latias and return to the square. We recruited both the Eon twins when we complete the mission, and also recruited Kangaskhan, Dodrio, Xatu, Spinarak, Togetic, Tailo, Raticate, and Masquerain. We're going to take on the Ho-Oh event next, but before we do, you know what we're doing. We recruit the Green Snake Rayquaza, and also recruit Spoink, Whismur, Barboach, Wooper, Squirtle, Tangrowth, Wobbuffet, Magneton, Diglett, Heracross, Phanpy, Flygon, Sandshrew, and Nidoqueen, adding 50 mons to the total. We also evolve a few Pokemon during this. Magnemite into Magnezone, Cubone, Nototis into Marowak, Rhyhorn into Rhydon, Yanma into Yanmega, and Swablu into Altaria. We will only add Altaria and Yanmega to the total, because we had more than one of them from each family line. We tackle through Fire Field and challenge Entei.
Sorry, one more thing. Before this, we went through Unknown Relic, recruit BGHUX.
You good? You finished? Can I carry on?
Yeah, for sure, man. Knock yourself out.
Okay. Cheers, mate.
No worries, fella. I'll see myself out. Nice one.
What the f? We fight Entei at the end of the dungeon, and after defeating him, he breathes fire onto the clearing that was given to us earlier by a Spinda, and sends us to the lightning field. We recruit Charmander, Togepi, Flareon, Charmeleon, and Licky, and we evolve a Charmander into Charizard, adding 6 mons to the total. Yeah, come in. Oh, it's you again.
Hey, yeah, I'm back. Did you add those unknown to the total?
Nah, man, I don't need to.
Are you stupid? Look at the start of the video. You said you're going to recruit every one of them.
Nah, you're wrong, mate, you're wrong.
With over 400 Pokemon monsters to recruit, including all of the unknown.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Oh, yeah, you're right. So I reckon I've done total, buddy. I done level 6.
What a cop.
Before we take on Lightning Field, we recruit Ponyta, Porygon2, Sableye, Drowsy, Jinx, Medicham, and Shuppet. And after beating the dungeon, we do the same thing we done to Entei. He shocks our wing, sending us to Northwind Field, and also recruit Pikachu, Roserade, Jolteon, Rhyperior, and Ampharos during the mission. And proceeding on to Northwind Field, we do the exact same thing to Suicune as we did to his beastly boys, and can finally take on Ho-Oh and Mount Faraway. But we obviously recruit more Pokemon before heading in. Those being Poliwag, Volbeat, Golduck, Poliwhirl, Delibird, Croconaw, Weepinbell, Staryu, Seadra, Ghastly, Duskull, Snorlax, Anorith, Kabutops, and Ursaring, and also a few evolutions. Those being Magikarp into Gyarados, Totodile into Feraligatr, Hoothoot into Noctowl, Gligar into Gliscor, Loudred into Exploud, and Snowred into Glalie. Adding 25 Pokemon monsters to the total. We won't be adding Gyarados since we only had one Magikarp. After besting the 60 floors of Mount Faraway, we fight Ho-Oh at the end, defeat him and also recruit him to the team, along with Huntail and Blastoise. After that's done, we get a small cutscene with Charizard and Blastoise, and also a mysterious Pokemon who claims to be the strongest Pokemon. Knocks out the both of them, sending them back to the square, meaning we can go to Western Cave now. But we recruit more Mons first, those being Quilava, Rapidash, Camerupt, Azumarill, Crawdont, Vaporeon, Wartortle, Poliwrath, Mareep, Minun, Electrode, Raichu, Geodude, Cubone, Omnite, and also the Beastie Boys Entei, Raikou, and Suicune. And we also do a few evolutions. Snorunt into Frostlass, Grimer into Muck, Goldeen into Sea King, Quilava into Typhlosion, Ladybug into Ledian, Pineco into Fortress, Snubbull into Granbull, Remoraid into Octillery, Houndour into Houndoom, Vampire into Donphan, Larvitar into Tyranitar, Marshtomp into Swampert, Tyler into Swallow, Rocky-Heat into Hariyama, Aaron into Aggron, Barbosh into Whiscash, Balto into Claydog, Anorith into Armaldo, Shuppet into Banner, Seal into Wolverine, Metang into Metagross. We're only adding Frostlass, Muck, Octillery, Tyranitar, and Metagross to the total, adding 24 to it. Next, we're going to take on the mysterious voice from Western Cave, who turns out to be Mewtwo himself. Just a heads up, there's not a lot to say about this. We challenge Mewtwo to a battle and defeat him on our first try, also recruiting him in the process. And that's everything for this event. Nothing more, nothing less. Moving on. But which cave event is next? And we just gotta rescue Medicham for the 20th floor. And this dungeon is the very first dungeon to what PMD fans call a Gauntlet dungeon. Basically meaning it's got 99 floors in it. There's 5 Gauntlet dungeons in this game, but we only have to complete 4 of them since Joy's Tower has nothing rewarding at the end. After rescuing Medicham, we found out that Gengar hasn't done anything mean with Team Meanie in a while, and the next day, the man himself appears outside our home, asking us for help to reach Ninetales. Remember him? After reaching the summit of Mount Freeze, Gengar blames Ninetales for making him look how he does now, and Ninetales responded with,
You fled from yourself as a human, and you fled from God of War.
whatever could this mean? After a bit of back and forth, Ninetales tells Gengar that he is unable to lift the curse from him, and also tells Gengar that Gardevoir's physical form is sealed away in Murky Cave. Before we head there, we add another 10 to the total, those being Jigglypuff, Cleffa, Aaron, Ludicolo, Zigzagoon, Hitmontop, Meowth, Pineco, Venonat, and Farfetch'd. And after beating Murky Cave, a voice speaks out to the boys saying that we're going to have to take a test about Gengar's true feelings. But Otis has to answer by entering Gengar's heart? Yeah, it gets a bit funky from here. After completing the test, the voice says that the curse on the Gardevoir could not be lifted. Gengar's not happy with it, so he speaks out to the voice, basically calling himself a bitch for running away, and that he recognises Gardevoir's loyalty towards him, and he admitted that he lacks a sense of gratitude. After a bit of attention seeking, Gardevoir appears, and so does Ninetales, saying that the curse has been broken. After returning home, Gardevoir thanks us for breaking the curse, and Gengar thanks us for rescuing Gardevoir. And the next morning, we recruit Gardevoir to the team, and we also recruit Mudkip, Pidgeotto, Gulpin, and Metapod during the mission. We're going to take on our first Gauntlet dungeon, Silver Trench, because it's the easiest one to complete. We finish it on our first try, fighting Lugia at the end of it, and recruited him to the team. And again, like Mewtwo, there's not a lot to say about this. Our next event requires us to take on Deoxys and Meteor Cave, but we recruit more Mons first before heading there. Those being Executor, Starmie, Omastar, Wailmer, Lapras, Wailord, Kingdra, Linoon, Budew, Torchic, and also a few evolutions. Venonat into Venomoth, Paras into Parasect, Dratini into Dragonite, Torchic into Combuskin, Torchic into Blaziken, Mudkip into Marshtomp, Gulpin into Swallow, Trapinch into Vibrava. And after beating Meteor Cave, we defeat and recruit Deoxys to the team, adding to a total of 276. We're only adding Dragonite, Combuskin, Blaziken, Marshtomp and Vibrava to the total. The Buried Relic is next, our second Gauntlet dungeon where we face off against the Regis and also where we can recruit Mew. On our first run of Buried Relic, we can't recruit the Regis, so we have to come back here again. We use an escape orb on the 40th floor to leave the dungeon early, recruiting Rattata, Tyrogue, Gulpin, Happiny and Marchoke before leaving. And before our second run, we run through a few dungeons quick, recruiting Shuppet, Porygon, Gengar, Quilava, Ditto, Kingler, Sentret, Shuckle, Dunsparce and Weavile. And heading back to Buried Relic, we recruit the 3 Regis and also recruit Wynaut, Shiftry, Arbok, Machamp, Makuhita and also the boy Mew. From this point on, we've only got to do the final 2 Gauntlet dungeons, recruit the rest of the Mons and also achieve Grandmaster rank, to which we finally get to the halfway mark where we need another 50,000 rescue points. Fantastic. We're going to take on Wish Cave first, as this is the easiest dungeon to complete out of the 2 remaining, but it's still not easy by all means. We recruit Miss Drevius and evolve into Miss Magius before heading in. Massive shout out to Kush for his video on recruiting every mon, where he used the Miss Magius with a small stomach rear quality to help reach the end. You see, Wish Cave and Piercing Forest requires you to go into the dungeon alone at level 5, but the difference between them is that we are allowed to bring in items into Wish Cave, making it a lot easier. The strategy is that because Miss Magius is a ghost type, they can walk through walls, avoiding battles, but walking through walls rinses your stomach meter. By using a small stomach rear quality, anything we eat fills up our stomach meter to 4, making the run through this dungeon easier than intended. But how do we beat Jirachi at the end? Using items called Helper Orbs. We can summon a group of Pokemon to fight Jirachi for us. After beating Jirachi, we recruit him to the team, and the next morning, we recruit a random Kakuna. I generally don't remember this, like, when the f did he turn up? Before we head to Purity Forest, you might want to buckle up for this one. We recruit Natu, Houndour, Lickitung, Leatherbar, Magikarp, Shedinja, Nincada, Ninjask, Pidgeot, Beautifly, Steelix, Wurmple, Crobat, Koffing, Cloyster, Onyx, Delcatty, Magnemite, Lantern, Skarmory, Corphish, Weedle, Nidoran Female, Paris, Bonsly, Krabby, Ralts, Spinder, Smoochum, Venonat, Dusclops, Tailo, Ekans, Slowpoke, Seal, Anorith, Sphere, Cradilly, Wingull, Ambipom, Mantike, Horsey, Girafarig, Bulbasaur, Solrock, Persian, Mime Jr., Castform, Barboach, Chikorita, Psyduck, Clefairy, Politoed, Snubble, Kavana, Celio, Lovedisc, Slowking, Sharpedo, Miltank, Feebas, Clampill, Alakazam, Ninetales, Trico, Eevee, Cyndaquil, Sunkin, Espeon, Munchlax, Gorbis, Chinchou, Relicanth, Lileep, Gallade, Igglybuff, Caterpie, Cascoon, Silcoon, Sneasel, Riolu, Cubone, Bellsprout, Rhyhorn, Fampi, Baltoy, Skitty and Hodgko, adding a whopping 83 Pokemon to the total. We also do some more evolutions, and hopefully these should be the last ones we do. Mankey into Primeape, Coffin into Weezing, Magmar into Magmortar, Elekid into Electivire, Togetic into Togekiss, Dusclops into Dusknoir, Lotad into Lombre, Bulbasaur into Ivysaur, Bulbasaur into Venusaur, Weedle into Beedrill, Clefairy into Clefable, Jigglypuff into Wigglytuff, Oddish into Blossom, Bellsprout into Victreebel, Slowpoke into Slowbro, Seal into Dugong, Happiny into Chansey, Happiny into Blissey, Chikorita into Bayleaf, Chikorita into Meganium, Trico into Grovyle, Trico into Sceptile, Ara into Lyron, Feebas into Milotic, Eevee into Umbreon, Eevee into Glaceon, Eevee into Leafeon, Eevee into Sylveon, Porygon 2 into Porygon Z, Riolu into Lucario, Swinub into Piloswine, Swinub into Mamoswine, and finally Mantike into Mantine. Added another 38 mons, and we finally rank up to Grandmaster rank during all these evolutions. Now, we finally get to Purity Forest, and the strategy for this is relatively simple, but still difficult because of the dungeon. Again, shout out to Kush and his video for helping with this. But the strategy is that we need to play as Ariados, and there are a few reasons to this. Number one is that Ariados has a quicker level curve than most mons, so you would gain levels much quicker than you would with a Dragonite, for example. Number two is that Ariados has decent level 1 moves, primarily being Fell Stinger, Poison Sting, and Sword Stance for the stabs and secondary effects. And the third reason is that Ariados has a decent typing of Bug Poison, which doesn't allow it to be poisoned, and it also has ability Insomnia, which prevents it from falling asleep. So we only have to worry about Paralysis and the Rare Freeze. We also need the Steamroll rare quality to allow any hit done by Ariados to always be neutral or super effective depending on the circumstance. We enter the dungeon. reset about 20-25 times to get the moveset we want. Then we can proceed on through the 99 floors. We constantly recruit teammates that just become body bags for us. When we get to the 50th floor, we find a mobile scarf which allows us to move through walls with ease at the cost of our stomach meter. So we equip that, avoid dangerous fights, and we get to the 67th floor where we die of sandstorm damage. Well, we head back in there, determined, and reset after reset after reset. We finally get a moveset that looks fantastic, and we're good to go. We move on through the dungeon, recruiting friends along the way, then losing them for sacrificial purposes. I carried on through, not looking back at the massacre that I somewhat assisted in. And then... Okay. I swear to God, if I die on this final floor, I'm gonna be fuming. Get me out of here. Get me out of here. Oh my God. I can't wait to not play this dungeon ever again. We finally reach the end, where we meet the time travel Pokemon Celebi, and they happily join the team with no questions asked. Now, for this last part, let me pick you a picture. When you were a kid in your local corner shop, have you ever looked at the juicy, circular apples at the front of the shop and thought to yourself, I wonder what would happen if I took one of these juicy, succulent apples? Well, this happens. Kecleon is the reason why you won't steal from Bossman's corner shop. Kecleon is the reason why you run upstairs when you turn off the final light downstairs. Kecleon is the reason why you're too scared to tell Bossman at the chip shop no when he asks, would you like some salt and vinegar on your chips? Kecleon is Pokemon Mystery Dungeon's most notorious recruit in the series, and the recruit the green bastard in this game. You need 4 things to increase recruiting rates: the friend bow, an inviting orb, the friendly rare quality, and the move the false swipe. And even then, you still have a low chance of recruiting this dumb fun. So I set out on a mission to steal that juicy, succulent apple you were hesitant to grab, and after doing that, I ran for the hills, murdering countless Kecleons along the way. And after about half an hour of killing Kecleons, we finally managed to recruit one to the team, ending the shopkeeper massacre. Thank you all for sticking around until the... Really? I'm about to finish the... Yeah, come in. What's up, little brother?
Yeah, hi. I have a favour to ask.
Yeah, what is it?
Because you basically talked about everything but one thing, can I talk
You
about
can
the
talk
unknown?
about the unknown.
Yes! Get it! I'll speedrun it so fast you won't even notice I've taken over. Going back to the unknown relic, we recruit VKMAZPQDSOWLCJR and... Huh? What? Say that again?
Wow, I'm actually impressed. You should do this more often.
Thanks, man, and yeah, I should. Maybe even be the channel's mascot.
Okay, maybe not that far.
Okay, you know what I say. Guess I'll see you around. Nice one, fella.
What a nice guy. Thank you all for sticking around until the end of the video. I completed the decks in 132 hours. I thought the main game was incredible, but the post game was a bit lackluster. But I still had fun grinding the dungeons regardless. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing. I'm planning on making Nuzlocke videos in the future with bigger projects going on in between the Nuzlocks. So until then, look after yourselves.